So I'm gonna try something new to try to keep it a little bit shorter today, so it's not a 20-minute video, and just try to get some of the stripped bare bone necessities rather than trying to talk about every single part of the article. And to that, we're gonna begin talking about how smartphones have reshaped human society, um, and started pushing towards what was called in the article a digital society. Um, and how this has changed the way we communicate, social norms, and just human culture in general. It also explains that although these devices have revolutionized our ability to talk to people, they have introduced challenges that affect us differently in the real world. So, kind of that amputation extension. I know I use it a lot, but it is very common within the world of technology. From there, it kind of talks about how this newfound culture, more how smartphones and technology in general has progressed our culture to make it so smartphones are an integral part of our day to day, and how we've made this normal. We've made this a part of our day to day, but how it also is used more than a communicative tool. How it's used for the workforce. How it's used for the health fields as a calculator more than just being used as a pager or a home line telephone. I feel this was talked about on page 4 when they're talking about how this is more of how smartphones have affected us. We have this ability to go through the different worlds just at the tips of our fingers with a phone. You can be in the digital world when you want, but whenever the real world becomes uncomfortable, it's an easy getaway. And same with the other way. If you find the digital world uncomfortable, you're able to go to the real world. By trying to escape the real world, we really degrade our relations with other people. Um, it kind of set us apart. It's like we were talking about in class, where you know, being there with somebody and somebody having their phone out and you not having your phone at all just makes it really awkward, and it makes you feel weird and uncomfortable. Another thing, which we did also talk about in class, was social media and the effects that it has on us as people outside of just using the app. As it's almost like an extension of ourselves, a new personality, a new identity that we can make whatever we want. And that's pretty important when you take into consideration this digital shift from a normal culture without technology 40 years ago. I mean, with minimal technology, and now within the last 20 years the introduction of social media has really progressed this shift while also changing human culture, and now we're becoming a sort of seeking culture through these mediums of validation, likes, other people's attentions, but all that stuff is super short-lived. As says on page 21, the tweet received 4.6 million likes, making it the most liked tweet of all time. But slowly, the virtuality of those hashtags tapered off. We all collectively moved on to other issues. It does kind of show in the text how, although we are built on this culture, it's not very sustaining or long lasting, and it's really just grabbing the the feel to need attention and need other people for validation. Another thing the article mentioned was data mining, and how our data is being grabbed by these um, big companies like Facebook and Instagram, which is run by Facebook and is used not only to be sold, but it's also kind of uncomfortable that like we do agree to these terms of services, to these apps, and you know that they know everything about us, and they just choose to keep it. And every moment, no matter what you're posting, you know the world is going to somewhere own that piece of information. The next thing to move on to would be social media's effect on mental health. We've obviously talked about it in class, um, and it's not good. In the studies, I'm sure there's never been a study that says it is good. For a lot of people, It's obviously an issue, and it's talked about fairly extensively in the article. I've talked about the use and repeat and gratify aspect of media and the smartphone usage, but it is really bad within social media apps. And um, we have a tendency now to judge other people through these mediums rather than helping other people. And we see that a lot through every single sort of social media app. Um, and near the end, they kind of talk about how although there's a lot of negatives to the smartphone and this newfound digital shift to a culture, there are some good sides. That being, they added the ice bucket challenge and this app that donates money for every mile that you bike slash run slash swim slash do exercise. And the particular good part of being a part of this culture. I mean, I know it's pretty self-explanatory, but when you're looking at how many negatives there are when we're raising hundreds of millions of dollars for charity through the same culture, it's a little bit hard to find balances, even though I believe there's a lot more negative than positive. And on top of that, outside of a donation and giving medium, this new, I know I keep addressing it as a culture, but that's kind of how I see it. It also is an activist area, platform. Social media could be used for this as well. The example used was the Black Lives Matter movement during 2020. We all know what happened, but it's not the only time that people have used our platforms to promote good, to promote help and awareness towards some very strong situations that a lot of people would not touch with a 10-foot stick unless they'd have other people with them. And it's a good way to form those communities and form these places of hope and help. Now, the adverse side of this is it can be used for bad as well. I said it's good for forming groups of hope and help, but it can also form groups of hate. And they used it says Charlottesville. Let me see that real quick. Yeah, where a bunch of neo Nazis and hate groups came together, and it's just not a good thing. And right after that, they kind of explain again the main theme, pretty much of this entire course, is how smartphones, technology, is not a neutral medium, especially with access to the internet. They catalyze and progress good or bad movements. They they forcefully push for things to happen, no matter the outcome. And that's the whole point of it. Sorry. And that's pretty much where it ends. I found a lot of things similar to what we've talked about in class the last 3 weeks because we missed some classes. But you can walk away saying that all of this does make sense. We are not shifting, but have shifted to this digital culture, especially now. This was written 5, 6 years, 7 years ago, and the effects of everything that was said is significantly worse. Now, I did just realize that Black Lives Matter movement was probably before all of that, but still, it was a very good chapter. I enjoyed it.